This community is like home. You know, like you go somewhere, you move somewhere, you got to get back home. You want to come back home. I was born and raised here, South Minneapolis. 5 generations of my family is here, and I love this community.
I've been in this community since 2005. After being released from prison, I felt a strong desire and strong pull to give back, especially to a community that I once helped destroy. And it brought me back when George Floyd was murdered on May 25th of 2020. And when I got here, I couldn't believe what I saw.
I think the square, it's a normal corner, just as much as this is a place of, world significance. It's a place of resistance. Obviously, it's a place of reflection on our tragedy, but hopefully it also feels like a place where we can find joy and connection. If you only see the tragedy here, then you're missing so much about what's on this corner.
So one of the first things we have to do is, honestly, one of our taglines is putting the neighbor back into the hood. You have to become a neighborhood, and then the neighborhoods have to build out the community. You have to be able to walk into a store and they say, oh, that's Bridget. Oh, that's her son, Amir. We've got to stop being so connected to technology and start reconnecting on a social level. I got to know that Miss Jones needs something. Her kids that live in Arizona should be able to pick up the phone and call me and say, hey, can you go check on my mom? That's community, that's public safety. And then the next step up is we got to be able to trust law enforcement, and law enforcement should be able to trust us. There's got to be a bridging of the gap.
There are, of course, real crises in that very few people are trained for, and I think we can train them better. But I'm just going to first start with a conversation about what is the way that we even relate to each other, and who sort of facilitates, or who's the umpire. Are we depending on somebody else, or is that something that we feel a personal responsibility for? Somebody calls the police, and for what situations? And some of my neighbors I don't even feel like I can say something to them because they're doing something wrong. So we have to recognize that actually the issue is our unwillingness to connect, or an issue to have tough conversations with each other. So instead we call somebody else who is a hammer and sees everything as a nail, and then we get upset about the outcomes of it.
I keep saying is we have to learn to work together. And that's the brothers on the ground, boots on the ground, the community people, activists, the police, is learn how to work together. There's no police presence here because there's no needed, really. You get what I'm saying? Because we have done what we need to do, and we're going to continue to do what we do. And we need is good officers that doesn't mind coming in our community and visiting these businesses, visiting these shops. You know what I'm saying? Do like they do in the suburbs. Come to the football games, the basketball games. Come and show up as a community member, even though you're not, but you serve in this community, and show that.
There's got to be dialogue. There's got to be real hard conversations. If I was a law enforcement officer, why would I want to come into your community and I know you getting ready to call me every name under the sun? It's already a hostile environment. But on the flip side of it, if I'm just a community member that needs police, how do I know you're not going to come in with a preconceived notion because I'm black that you think I'm illegal and I'm a criminal? And people have to realize Minnesota is Mississippi buried under snow. Our racism is just hidden. It's a hard conversation, but it's American history. It's our history, and we need to address our history.
The city is always going to justify itself. That's its job. How could you ask an entity that's constantly trying to demonstrate its value and worthiness to then say, hey, you know what? We messed this up. This is actually totally wrong. That's actually quite rare in history that a power entity will do that. So it depends on us sort of changing our own way that we want to relate to each other, collectively, organizing our power to push for those power systems to change. That's just how it's worked.
I believe that public safety has to start in the resiliency of this community. People are still watching us. We are still considered the epicenter. We had to police our own community for 13 months, considered a no-go zone. There were no police officers that came in. It takes everybody in order to have true safety. And we hold the blueprint.
I sometimes think about it, I use the metaphor of like a soccer team. I once heard this like metaphor of public health. You know, our collective well-being is made up of many different positions. And we might, at best, assign cops as like the goalkeeper, like the last defense. But you don't win a game by only fielding the goalkeeper. And you don't place a bunch of goalkeepers across the field to win a game. There's other things that we need to do, other positions that we need to play, in other words, other skill sets, perspectives, both, you know, long-term strategies and short-term strategies. It seems to me like the power structures are scared to have that conversation, but it's just, at other points I see it's so normal in the lexicon of Minneapolitans, or, right, Minneapolitans what we call, right? Folks from Minneapolis.
What I was seeing people come together and then people get pulled away. People pulling together because a black man was killed by a white police officer. You start seeing the love and people come together and working together. But then you start seeing that some people's using this to lift and bring up their organization. Politician is doing it to get votes. Listen, activists, the politicians, the police officers, the community members, you know what I'm saying? These leaders in this community, all of us got to come together and work together. That's what's called a village. You can't stand here and say, oh, and then you move on. Or pop up in a neighborhood and shout this and that, and then you're gone. What about tomorrow, the next day? One organization ain't gonna be able to do it. It's gotta be everybody coming together. Put your pride aside. You know what I'm saying? And let's do this. Your ego, all that got to go. And let's come together as a community and learn how to love on each other and help build. Because we got a lot of hate. We see that. Let's stop hiding the love and bring that out. And let's use that to guide.